What's going on, Z Warriors? Mr. Waffles here. What's that? You're feeling ruthless? You wanna what? Alright, so my boy Raph here is feeling ruthless, so I figured he wants us to talk about the Red Ruthless Mastery, so looks like that's what's on the agenda today. So we're going to be talking about the Red Ruthless Mastery, all the red cell cards that we've seen so far, and Android 17 and his name cards. So we're going to see how the Mastery kind of fits in with the new right now, with the two personalities that we've seen, Trunks and Android 17, as well as some of the old ones like Turles, Nail, Goku, Krillin, Ginyu, and all that stuff. I'm not going to go through each MP, but I'm going to just probably point out ones that I think are more of like an obvious indicator of how this mastery has synergy with those MPs. So first of all, the Red Ruthless Mastery is insane. Sorry, it has two effects. First one is power. Use when entering combat. Banish the style card of your discard pile. If you banish the style card and all your style physical attacks do +2 stages of damage this combat and gain hit lower your opponent's anger 1 level. And has a power which you can use once per combat, which is reveal a style card from your hand and place it at the bottom of your life deck. If you do, and the top card of your discard pile is an attack, you may play it. So that right there is some powerful stuff. It allows you to basically essentially use like 2 attacks if your opponent passes. So if you catch your opponent on a dead hand, you can use enter, banish, if it's styled all your physical attacks do +2, and then you can play an attack and then reveal a styled card, put it at the bottom, and then use that same attack again from the discard pile. So it allows you to fix your hand because that's something that the Red Mastery was designed to do from set one. Was basically when you level up, you have a dead card, you draw and then you just get rid of it. This one lets you place it at the bottom, so you're actually gaining life, which is actually a really interesting thing I just thought about because you're taking a card from your hand and you put it at the bottom of your life deck and using a card from your discard pile. So you essentially gain +1 life card every time you use the Mastery's power. So I think that's pretty good in itself. It allows you to have anger control, which we didn't see that. Well, we saw obviously with the first mastery, but now it allows you to make up for the fact that you're doing physical beats or it's more physical orientated. And one weakness to physical decks is leveling up. Besides ball six and some other things, leveling up is huge because your opponent's at 4 anger, you hit them with a huge physical attack. They use a card to raise their anger and they just gain 10 free stages and you have to just work even that much harder. So the fact that this gets hit lower your opponent's anger 1 level allows your opponent to think, oh, should I block this attack? Or allows your opponent to think more and decide which attacks to take and which attacks not to take. So I think that's a really good counterbalance for the mastery itself. I think it has a lot of potential because again, Discord pile, and I'm going to say this because the way your Discord pile is very important. As we know, we can't shuffle it, but with this mastery, it's super important because it can literally make or break games. Whatever the top card is, you want to make sure that's the top card. If it's a freestyle card and all of a sudden you change it to a style card by accident, and you enter, that can change the whole course of the game because everything now, all your style attacks do +2 stages. So that's huge. So you got to make sure that the discard order is important because you also have some cards that banish stuff from your discard pile. So you want to make sure when you selectively banishing it that you kind of like fan it out and pick and choose carefully, and then don't like, okay, I'm going to choose this card, and then take it back, and then you mess up the order completely because that can have an effect on what card is on top when you enter combat. So red players, those who are using this mastery isn't for the I won't say faint of heart, but isn't for like a beginner. It's for I guess I would say to the expert level degree because there's a lot of things to take care of. You have to know pretty much when you play an attack. It's not so much okay, I'm playing this attack, but now it's more so the order which I want my discard pile to be, which is why I'm playing this attack. If you know what I'm saying. So I have let's say if I'm using red double strike. Okay, I use double strike, and then I use um, another card on and I place it on top. so that way that card gets banished when I enter combat, and then I can have the double strike again to reuse from my discard pile, if you know what I'm saying. So there's a lot of thought, a lot of micromanagement with this deck that you have to take into effect. You have to take into effect of um, what's at what's in your discard pile at all times, and making sure that it's your discard pile now is in the order which you want it to be in. Um, Another thing, as I was talking about earlier, with when you're selectively banishing cards, because we're going to talk about a card that banishes 3 cards from your discard pile. When your opponent dev blows you or pulverizes you, you want to make sure that everything is in that same order. Don't just like your opponent like, oh, I choose this card. Oh wait, I meant to choose this card, and then everything gets messed up. You know, Players now need to be very, very cautious of where the discard pile and how this discard pile is arranged. So you can't just you know, Lollydon think it doesn't matter, because now it actually does. Same thing when you ball 7 or you take anything out from the discard pile. Just be very careful. VTP, etc. I don't want to see players at high level events get game losses or can have the game totally swayed in one direction simply because the players didn't really take into consideration how careful they have to keep their discard pile. So for all those who want to use this mastery, just please keep that in mind, because I don't see any y'all just losing because of something like that, because it's a huge thing. Now we're going to talk about the cards. So we have a Red Rage, which is an energy combat card. Costs 1 stage. If the top card of your discard pile is a style attack, you may banish a style card from your hand to draw the top card of your discard pile. Damage 3 stages. Hit, Rage your Anger 1, and Spanish after use. So this card right here has a lot of good effects. One being an NG attack that does stages, so it keeps your opponent off guard. You're already playing a mastery that really benefits from physical attacks, and then you all of a sudden play its energy, and they didn't really. You basically caught them off guard. You're like, whoa, energy doing 3 stages. It can add up. So I think for the most part, having this card be an energy combat card is good, just to throw your opponent off balance and kind of get in their head to figure out what kind of attacks to keep in their hand. Should I keep physical block? Should I keep energy block? It can really mess up their game. Again, if the top card of your discard pile is styled, banish the style card from your hand. So that allows you to get rid of dead cards. So if you have, like, if on defense you draw like a setup or something like that, if you didn't reveal for the mastery, already, you can just get rid of it. So this mastery really fixes a lot of dead hands for the most part, which I like to really keep things in combat going. And again, more toolbox material. So you draw the top card of your discard pile. So it doesn't have to be a styled card. It can be time. It can be anything that you need. So again, that's why the discard pile orientation is very important, because you can place things in such a way so that way, like this card, you can get it back to your hand. Next card we'll look at is Red Chest Beam. So it's an energy attack. When this attack is played from your discard pile, raise your anger 2 levels. It costs 3, and banish an ally. Allies cannot be played nor placed into play this combat. 3 life cards. So the reason why this card is good, and even though we already have an energy attack that does not so much something similar, but in terms of banishing allies, is Red Energy Blast. It's energy for 4. Banish ally or drill, raise your anger 1. This card shuts off flinch, shuts off overpowering attack, and it shuts off battle readiness. Those are the only ones I can really think of that. Oh, and heroic plan. A few cards off my top of my head that places allies into play, and also Android 17's Van, which we will see later. So this card has a lot of utility. It's not just banishing the ally, but it's making sure that they can't counterattack to get the ally back, or get an ally you know what I mean? So it allows for to shut off in that aspect. And if it's played from a discard pile, raise your anger 2 levels. So if you have the stages for it, um, and you level up with it, it's free. So it has a lot of good use, and it can just sit in a discard pile. So if you want to try and set it up so you can use it later, and it can be a game-breaking card. Also shuts off Ginyu too. So a lot of things that this card can really do, and has a lot of potential. So it's a card I probably might play 2 of, not 3, just because it costs a lot. But the fact that you can play it again potentially from your discard pile. Sometimes you don't even need 3 copies of every card. That's what I like about this mastery. You don't have to have almost 3 of everything because you can potentially play that attack again. It's as if you had 2 or 3 copies there to begin with. Um, next card is the setup, Red Premonition. If I'm saying it right, but it's a setup, and it says whenever this card is revealed from your hand, you may banish it to search your life deck for a styled event and place it into your hand. Power, lower your MP1 level to advance or lower your opponent's MP1 level. So this card is huge. Why? Because it allows you to play cards like Dig. I'll dig your grave. Again, with this new mastery, you not really gaining anger. So to be able to have a card like Dig to kind of boost you up to get some cool effects, and then have this card lower you down to lower your opponent down as well to set off that Dig is really cool. As well as the fact that it's a physical attack for 6 stages, and then all your beefy physicals will have the buff because of the mastery, and then your opponent also can't use endurance. So I think something that makes Raph very, very proud. He's, excited. You can see it in his face. Look at that. So that card allows you to get a styled event. So I think, like, what style events can we use? Right now they haven't released any styled events in this new set, but what we have so far is like Red Retreat. If you're playing a drill deck, you can get that card. Red Containment. Again, if you're playing like a drill deck, want to get rid of setups, you can search for that. Red Stop, so you can search for the Omni Block, and Red Observation, which is really cool. So your opponent has a huge board, search for Observation and try and blow up the board. So this card has a lot of huge potential in it. Again, any card that replaces itself is always a good card because you're not losing any hand advantage. Next card we're going to look at is Red Forceful Strike. So when this card is performed from your discard pile, you may destroy a setup or drill. Physical attack table plus 3 stages. Hit, you may banish the top card of your life deck to destroy a setup or drill. The reason why I like this card is because you can kind of use it in the Old Mastery, because Old Mastery doesn't really have ways to get rid of setups besides Red Containment for the most part and Observation. So you can still use that if it hits. You can't really get the first effect off where if you play it from your discard pile, because that only pretty much works with the new Mastery. But it allows you to at least do that aspect. It's +3, plus the Mastery makes it +5, so depending on the MP, it can do a lot of damage. Talking about like 9, 10 sometimes. Less drills for modifiers because your Mastery already does that for you. Other than that, if you use it with the Mastery, it can potentially just destroy up to 2 setups or drills, which is huge. Next card we're gonna look at is Red Quick Jab. Sorry, physical attack. When this card is banished from the top of your life deck when this card is banished from the top of your discard pile by one of your card effects, you may raise your anger 2 levels. Your opponent cannot lower your anger with cards this combat, or looks like stop defense cards or something, I guess. But the damage is 4 stages. So this card again allows you to gain some anger if it's banished. So we can see with this Red Mastery, the player needs to make their deck built in such a way where it has good synergy in terms of the cards that get effects when it's banished via the when entering, and cards that can be used from the discard pile as an attack with the second power of the Mastery. So you want to make sure that you have a good ratio and good balance between the two, so that way you're not having too much of one or the other. So I think deck construction is super important here, more than anything. The next card we're going to look at is Red Smash. Physical attack, raise your anger 1 level, look at the top 3 cards of your discard pile and banish any amount of them. Damage is 3 stages. Hit, banish any amount of card from your discard pile. Banish after use. So this card has to be banished after use, obviously, because you can just keep using it over and over again. This card is huge because it selectively banishes your own discard pile, so that way you can set up so that way you can use the second part of the Mastery to get to use an attack. And what I also like about the Mastery is that it's not limited to styled attack, it's just any attack. So if you want to use like a wall breaker, it's cool to like use a wall breaker from your discard pile to attach to your opponent, or dev blow or pulverize, or anything that's not really so much a styled card. It allows you to use that. So you can play tech cards where it doesn't really hurt your deck if you don't draw them, because now you can play them from the discard pile. And it's any attack, it's not styled. The only thing that has to be styled is a card that you reveal from your hand that you put at the bottom. So And then you get to, it says hit, banish any amount of cards from your discard pile. So any cards that say when this card's banished by your card effect, do X, Y, and Z, it will trigger all those things. So I think that's really good for that aspect. I mean, we have True Power, which kind of does something like that, but you know, this is any amount, so it's all selective banishment. So if any dead drills in your disco pile, or setups, just get rid of them or something like that. So I see this card having a lot of use. I'll definitely play 3. But we'll see what happens. I mean, the damage output is only 3 stages. We got to think like plus the mastery, which is 5. So all in all, I think it's some huge damage output. It's it's incredible. Uh, Next up, we'll look at Android 17 cards. So, this level 1 is a physical attack for 80 stages. You may search your life deck or discard pile for the van and place it into play. So, this is really good just because he's in the C bracket. So, most MPs, if you're talking about like set 1, start off in B. So, it'll do 5. Um, Maybe not that much if you're playing some of the new MPs in the new set because it probably might start at C as well. But they probably do 3 stages at least, but it's a free attack, so can't go wrong. And you get a free search of a card. It's pretty much a free ally tutor when you think about it, which we'll talk about the combos with that later. It's level 2. It's physical attack for AT, 3 stages. If it hits, you may search your banish zone or discard pile, I believe, for the van and put into play, and you may destroy an ally. So this card helps you get back the van after you used it. So just making pit stops, man. Use the van, go out, come back. You're just constantly going. Level 3 is an energy attack for 6 stages, and if you have the van in play, your opponent cannot use endurance, or it cannot have its damage prevented, I believe. And I think it has one more effect. Yeah, I think it's just allies can't have their damage redirected to them this combat. And if the van's in play, damage from the attack can't be prevented, and it's six life cards of damage. And the level 4, which is really cool, is constant power. So all your physical attacks deal plus 4 stages of damage and can only be stopped by physical combat cards. X is the number of allies in your opponent's banish zone, and used when entering combat. You may search your banish zone for the van and place into play. So level 4, like pretty much more ally related, but I don't mind it at all. Some people don't think he's good. I don't think he's bad, but at the same time, I'm not going to dismiss him just because one, sure, he's like really ally based, but that's not a bad thing because since your MP stack, or his MP stack, I should say, is all about allies, it's less cards that you have to put in your deck to have ally removal, if you know what I mean. So it makes your deck a little bit more consistent. When you're playing Nappa, if you're a level 1, sure, it's get rid of an ally, but when you go to level 2, if you ever get digged or neck beamed or something like that, you're going to have a hard time. So 17's powers throughout, 1 through 4, all about anti-ally, whereas Nappa is just 1 and 3, and most players stay on 1. So if you ever get digged to 2, it's like, well, what do I do? So it's either trying to drop back down to 1 or trying to go up to 3, whereas 17 doesn't really matter. So if you're ever playing like an ally deck, any level would be fine. If you're not playing an ally deck, then you just don't go to 4 because it's level 4. So if your opponent lets you get to that, you're probably going to be winning by MPPV anyway. So I'll just say if that's the case, try and stay at 1, 2, or 3. So that's why I don't think he's bad at all, because the levels that he has actions are 1, 2, and 3, and the only one that he doesn't is 4. But if you're again at that level, you probably might be winning anyway. I think his name cards, which we're going to talk into, has a lot of synergy, and you'll see why. He's not just I would say like anti-ally, but he can also get some allies. So we'll look into his name cards. Android 17's van setup, banish 2 allies. If you control no allies, you can search your life deck, or I'm not sure if it's life deck and banish zone or discard pile, but you search your life deck, discard pile, or banish zone for an ally with Android in the title and place in play. Banish after use. So no matter where the ally is, you're getting an ally. You're getting one. I think that's just absolutely insane. again, it has a lot of synergy because you use level 1 to get the van, and then use the van. If you have no allies, you can get an ally. So you can either get Android 18, sorry, or 20, because those are the only ones that we've seen so far. 18 says if your MP is 17, you can use this effect no matter what power stage he's at, and its power is to discard a card to deal a non-style physical attack for 2 life cards, I believe. I can't remember what 20 does, but you can get either or. I just know with 20, when it leaves play, all androids in the title lose 3 stages. So I think something like that is really good because, it's like, hey, screw you, Ginyu. I can kind of be like Ginyu too, in some kind of way or fashion. So I would like to see how the mirror match plays out because, 117 uses their van, the other 17 uses to get their van. One uses the van to get 18, the other one uses the van to banish the 18 to get their 18 or 20 or whatever, or 19 or whatever. So it's going to be really fun, and it's really cool to see how the mirror plays out. But I think that name card is amazing. And the other name card is his like back attack or something like that, where it's physical attack, raise your anger 1, your opponent skips his next action as combat, and it damages 5 stages. So the reason why this is good in tandem with the mastery, sorry if I look a little bit tired, is because you use that, raise your anger 1, does 5 stages, then use the mastery, reveal a style card, put it at the bottom, and then use it again. So that's 10 stages, raise your anger 2. Seems pretty good to me. You can play 3 of them. Insane. Just absolutely insane. So I think and 17 is going to be a very aggressive physical beatdown, or you can run some energies in there too, but really aggressive deck. And it has the control of the allies in there. So with that being said, you don't have to worry about, again, putting allies into your ally hate so much into your deck, because if you're playing red, you have a lot of it already, and if you're playing 17, you don't really have to put that much, maybe not even that much at all, because the van takes care of 2 of them because it banishes them. I think that being said, you can put more cards that would tailor to fit your deck and make it more consistent even better. Going on with the Red Mastery, again, it allows you to use older MPs like Turles, for example, where all your style attacks already do +2, so everything else doing +4, and all your double strikes, red knee lift, cards like that, it could do so much damage. It's unbelievable in my opinion. If you're at level 3, everything would do +5, no endurance. So crazy stuff that's happening. Red nail, dashing attack because it's considered a stout card. Things like that to get the crit, could potentially go back. So a lot of cool things. Those are things that I'm thinking off the top of my head can really have a huge impact on the metagame and can kind of shift things around for sure. Other MPs I'm trying to think of, none really kind of really jump out there. Like Turles is the obvious one, Nail. There's probably a couple others, maybe Godku, again with the high stages, stuff like that. So who knows where, because you're ready to get an extra card, and then if you draw a dead card, which happens a lot when I play Godku, you can just reveal it for the mastery and put it at the bottom and then use it in attack. So it just allows you to really go into town and just make so much use out of it. And then the life card that you lose, you just kind of gain 1 back because you put a card for free at the bottom of your life deck. So I think this mastery is going to open up a ton of possible decks. I'm loving it so far. I can't wait to play it, and I think deck construction would be so key in this build. I just think also with this mastery, you got to make sure, like I said before, just make sure you set up your discard pile right and make sure everything's in order, so that way, 1, you don't get game losses, 2, your opponent doesn't get game losses, and 3, you make use of the mastery to its fullest. As with Trunks, I know I was going to do that with the Saiyan, but I guess we'll just look at, can't remember all his attacks offhand. I know his level 3 allows you to reveal a card, put it at the top or bottom of your life deck, and you get a card from your discard pile, an attack card, and add it to your hand. So you can kind of pick and choose which cards you want to kind of toolbox, so that way you can set it for mastery. Oh, man, it's a long day today. I'm sorry, but Yeah, no, Trunks has a lot of, use and flexibility with the mastery, so I'm pretty excited just to see where it would go. I know Raph is happy over here, he's can't wait to try out, and just he already has the red going on and everything like that, so it looks like he's going to be playing some Red Ruthless Mastery when it comes out. So that's pretty much it for today. I mean, 17 is looking great. The Mastery and all the cards are looking phenomenal, so I'm excited to see what's going to open up for set 4 in terms of the metagame shift. Is Krillin going to be a thing? Is Ginyu going to be a thing? Because these two both kind of get rid of that 17, dealing with Ginyu, and then the red mastery kind of dealing with Krillin because of all the stage locking you could potentially have. So I guess we'll see in the future. I mean, I'm just excited just to play and try out these cards. I'm not excited for the templates, but that's a whole different thing entirely. You don't ever want to get me started on that. But for the most part, the game is looking solid. A lot of interactions, kind of like how Yu-Gi-Oh has a chain system and Magic has a stack. You have some cards where in response you can do this. So there's that one Sane card, which I'll go over again in my other video, where if your opponent tries to end combat you in response, cancel the card and your opponent skips his next action. So, I'm just glad to see a lot of crazy interactions with the game happening right now. So I can't wait to try it out, and I hope you guys as well. So again, if you liked the video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to just share me some love, and I'll try and put up some more videos. It's been really crazy with work, but no excuse, but I'll try and get some great content out for you guys, and some battles, more battles. Expect more battles, a lot more. All right. So me and Raph are gonna do some deck theory crafting, and until next time, Z Warriors, Mr. Waffles out.